Hi, I'm Sarah Thomas, and today I'm going to introduce you to the Teaching Without a Book framework. I designed this tool to help teachers close the gaps created by an out-of-balance, antiquated public education system and to help them take back the art of teaching. I am so excited to publicly share the Teaching Without a Book framework for the very first time. I developed this student-centered approach in my elementary classroom, based on the work of Abraham Maslow, Benjamin Bloom, and my own personal research. It is a straightforward approach to closing the gaps that have been created by systemic regulations, and it prioritizes educating the whole child. Framework is a tool that I developed to help you take back the art of teaching. The Teaching Without a Book framework is built upon the following 7 pillars. Safety, fostering an inclusive, loving, and accountable classroom community. Intrinsic motivation, creating a culture of learners. Executive functioning, nurturing students' independence. Inquiry, encouraging curiosity, questioning, and critical thinking. Creativity, they need the fluff. Collaboration, developing effective listening and communication skills. And resiliency, growing reflective, persistent learners. When embedded into your classroom and instruction, the framework will enable you to restore the balance between the science of teaching and the art of teaching. It complements what you're already doing and is a personalized approach that allows you to choose from a variety of fun, engaging, real-world learning experiences that will best meet the needs of the students in front of you. It is not a replacement for your curriculum, but the framework is a tool that expands on the standardized curriculum in order to close those gaps that have been created by our quantitatively driven public education system. So teaching is both a science and an art. And unfortunately, many districts and schools have really forced their teachers to eliminate the art and hyper-focus on the science, which they believe will help improve test scores. Now, if you're a teacher watching this video or listening to the podcast, that means that you're already the kind of educator who is looking to push themselves and to grow, which means that you probably already know that today's students need more authentic, real-world experiences for learning. But it's also really hard to do that inside of our public education system. This obsession with test scores and standardization bullies teachers into using practices that prioritize standardized testing, leaving them feeling like there just isn't enough time to do anything that is fun, engaging, authentic, or a reflection of the real world. Many of today's teachers are held hostage to outdated traditional educational practices. And this is often because of the directives to follow the book word for word, to teach the same as the teacher next door, and to move through the content at the same exact pace as the rest of their grade level team. Now, while the idea behind these directives is to create equitable academic access for all students, ironically, it's not equitable at all. Equity is everyone getting what they need, not everyone getting the same thing. Forcing our teachers to follow a scripted manual word for word in a cookie-cutter approach is not responsive to the diverse needs of the students that are sitting in front of them. So rather than having the autonomy to give their students what they actually need, both academically and socially and emotionally, teachers are involuntarily submitting to practices that are not in alignment with their moral compass, out of fear for what might happen if they get caught stepping outside of the book. Standardization does not grow the whole child. It does not foster our students' personal growth and nurture them into becoming the fullest expression of who they're meant to be. It does not develop citizens who are collaborative and compassionate. It doesn't encourage critical thinking, questioning, or foster their ability to be able to recognize corrupt leadership. It does not grow organized, resilient, intrinsically motivated citizens who are creative, innovative problem solvers. Standardization is a one-size-fits-all approach. Do our children need to learn how to sit, listen, and follow directions? Yes. Do our children need to learn basic skills and standards? Yes. And should our children be tested to show their mastery of skills and standards? Absolutely. But we must evolve to a more balanced approach to teaching and learning. Today's students need a future-focused public education system. one where they have equitable access to master skills and standards, but where instruction and assessment are conducted in ways that reflect our world today, not the world when we were in school, and certainly not the industrialized nation of 300 years ago, when our first public schools were created. I created Teaching Without a Book for teachers who want to teach with passion and creativity again, but aren't sure how to overcome the barriers that have been created by strict regulations and prioritization of test scores. And Teaching Without a Book is just that. It's a framework. And I created it and used it in my classroom to teach my students all of the things that you can't find in the book or a teaching manual. These are the critical missing pieces of teaching and learning that our children so desperately need to be successful in school and in the real world. But they aren't given enough merit by our public education system, who prioritizes test scores over personalization. And so while the reality, at least for now, is that the hierarchy of public education will continue to make decisions that impact the way teachers teach, you can use the Teaching Without a Book framework alongside those regulations so that you can begin to once again teach in alignment with your core values and provide the kind of education you know your students need. It's a way that we can flip the hierarchy right in our own classrooms by placing our students right at the top where they belong. Student-centered, student-driven. The framework is diagnostic, strategic, and responsive, and even most importantly, easy to use. It's a personalized approach for educators. Each of the 7 pillars represents an area that should be routinely included in your instruction or classroom life so that you can close those gaps that have been created by systemic regulations and overemphasis of standardization. I have created a free menu-style guide of the framework that will provide you with different ideas, strategies, and resources for each of the 7 pillars. These ideas can be easily embedded into your classroom and instruction a la carte style, and these ideas will support the work that you're already doing. So first, begin by grabbing that free guide to the Teaching Without a Book framework. You can get the guide by clicking the link in the video description or in the podcast notes. You can also visit teachingwithoutabook.org, go to the framework page, and you can find it there at the bottom of the page. Next, you'll want to begin by reviewing the framework guide and comparing it and contrasting it to what you're already doing in your classroom. Write in the space provided under each pillar to make a list of your current practices or things that you're already doing for that pillar. You can also circle any of the provided suggestions, strategies, or resources that you might already be doing or using. You may find that you're a total rock star at some pillars and more of a newbie in others. This is totally fine. This exercise is to help you find those areas that you're going to really want to target first. Start with the ones that you don't incorporate that often, and then you can move to the other pillars and grow and expand on what you're already doing. I do recommend choosing just one new strategy at a time and getting really good at that one thing before taking on a new strategy or idea. Now, as you plan out your week, you can reference this guide and choose from one of the strategies provided for each pillar, or choose from one of your own ideas that you put on the list. But you want to be sure to select and embed things that your students need at that time. This is why the a la carte or menu style of this format is so effective in helping you to create learning that is diagnostic, strategic, and responsive. You select whatever your kiddos need at that time based on data and other measures. Now, by no means is this guide exhaustive. I could never include all of the things in one little guide. And the purpose is just to help you get started, not overwhelm you and create decision fatigue. So here are just a few ways that you can get more ideas and expand your toolbox and repertoire around the different pillars of the framework. The main thing that you can do is to join the Teaching Without a Book community. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow our podcast. Being that it's the Teaching Without a Book framework, everything that we do here at Teaching Without a Book supports the use of that framework. So that means all of our instructional videos and podcast episodes, our courses and workshops, as well as our teaching resources are all designed to teach you new strategies, give you fresh ideas, and provide you with resources for each of the 7 pillars of the framework. You can also visit our website at teachingwithoutabook.org to learn more about all of the ways that we can help you. thing you can do is find out what other teachers are doing in their classroom. You can join our free Teaching Without a Book Facebook group to get and share ideas, and I will put a link to that group in the video description as well as the podcast notes, and you can also find it on the homepage of our website at teachingwithoutabook.org. You can collaborate with your own colleagues in your school or district, and don't forget your social workers, counselors, and other support staff who may be experts in areas that you're less experienced in. Check out social media. So many people are out there sharing fantastic ideas, and we all have so much that we can learn from one another. Books, podcasts, and articles from reputable sources like Edutopia are great places to gain research-based ideas as well. So I'm currently writing Teaching Without a Book, a framework for taking back the art of teaching, which at this time is due to be published next spring of 2023, if I can keep on track. So I will definitely be keeping everyone updated on that, because that will be a great resource for you to have. Also, if you're interested in getting more support as you get the framework up and running in your own classroom, or if you want to work on accomplishing your own personal teacher goals, then go to our website, teachingwithoutabook.org, and apply for our teacher mentoring program. I will support you individually as you work to grow and become your best teacher self. There are only a few slots available, so be sure to act quickly. So again, as you work to implement the framework into your classroom, don't forget to utilize Teaching Without a Book. That's why we're here. I developed the framework, and so I am the expert in the framework. And this is where you will find all things Teaching Without a Book framework. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow the podcast, join the community, and share ideas in our Facebook group. Thank you so much for joining me today. And as always, if you ever have questions, please don't hesitate to send me an email. Take care.